Hey guys, so tonight we're going to talk about sex-linked and sex-influenced traits. Now we all know that guys have an X and Y chromosome and girls have two X chromosomes, but there's also other genes that are carried on those chromosomes that determine more than just the sex of the person. So that's what we're going to look at today. So first of all, who determines the sex of the baby? Is it the mom or the dad? Well, technically it's the dad who determines the sex of the child because mom can only donate X chromosomes. So no matter what mom does, she's always going to give one X chromosome in one of her eggs, whereas dad can either give an X or a Y. So it depends on what chromosome is in that sperm of dad's to hit the egg of mom's to make the child female or male. So dad determines the sex of the child. So like I said, sex chromosomes can carry other traits as well, and these are called sex-linked traits. So sex-linked traits show up in different percentages in males and females because they move with the sex chromosome. So for example, first we have Y-linked genes. Now these are genes carried on the Y chromosome. So for example, there's a gene for the phenotype of having hair on your ears, and we call this having a hairy pinna. The pinna is this part of your ear right here. And a hairy pinna gene is a Y-linked gene. What's interesting is Y-linked genes only show up in males. And if you think about it, this makes total sense because girls don't have a Y chromosome, therefore they can't show any Y-linked genes because they don't have a Y. So now I want you guys to make a practice cross with a Y-linked. So we're going to use the hairy ears trait. Now hairy ears is a Y-linked dominant trait. So how do we set up a cross like this? We're going to use a big H for hairy ears and a little h for recessive normal ears. But it's on the Y chromosome, so we'll write it like this, with the H is kind of an exponent. Okay, so to set up this cross, we'll put mom at the top with her two X chromosomes, and we'll put dad on the other side with one X and one Y, but he also has the trait for hairy ears, so we have to put the capital H next to the Y. Now fill out this Punnett square and tell me how many girls will have hairy ears, how many boys will have hairy ears, how many boys will have normal ears, and how many girls will have normal ears. Now pause the video and do the Punnett square. Pause. Alright, so here are the results of this cross. Turns out the girls that will come from this particular cross will all have normal ears because they'll all receive the X from the dad that doesn't carry the gene. But all the boys from this cross will come out with hairy ears since it's a Y-linked dominant trait. Now we also have X-linked genes. So these are genes carried on the X chromosome. And some examples of some X-linked genes or disorders that come from X-linked genes are hemophilia, color blindness, and Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Here are some quick colorblind tests. Now depending on the resolution of your screen, these numbers might show up a little better than they would on print, but if you can see any of the numbers within the big circle of dots, you are not colorblind. However, if you can't see them, you probably have one type of color blindness. Now, so let's make a cross with an X-linked gene. So let's do color blindness. Now, color blindness is X-linked recessive. So we'll use big B for the normal dominant color gene and a little b for the recessive colorblind gene. But it's on the X chromosome, so we'll write it as X with our little b. So I want you guys to cross a homozygous normal mom and colorblind dad. Alright, so this is how we set up the cross with our homozygous mom at the top with the dominant gene on both alleles and dad at the bottom with his regular Y chromosome, and then because it's sex-linked to the X chromosome, he will have the recessive gene on his X chromosome. So do this cross, let's see what we get. Pause. Alright, so it looks like from this cross, all the boys that would come out of this particular cross would be normal. So we have 100% normal if we have our boys, and all the girls are carriers. So it doesn't mean they have the disease, but they could pass the trait on to their offspring. Here are a few things to remember about sex-linked trait. Y-linked genes only show up in males because only guys have a Y. X-linked recessive genes appear more often in males than in female. Now, females can be carriers for X-linked recessive traits, but males can never be carriers for X-linked traits. They're either normal or they're going to show the trait.